Hi guys, hello gorgeous. Welcome to another 80s cartoon commentary. Today we're going to be taking a look at the third ever episode of G1 Transformers More Than Meets the Eye Part 3. And joining me on this call is once again Adam Burkett. Adam, how you doing tonight?
Hey, great, glad to be here.
Glad to have you back. And also joining us on this call is another Patreon subscriber. It's Michael Proctor. Michael, how are you doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks.
Excellent. So both of you are deciding to go with Transformers over the Super Bowl tonight.
Yeah, being a Brit, it's not something I would take that much of part in. I used to watch it a bit as a kid, but I'm kind of grown out of it.
Yeah, same here. It's just kind of a casual thing for me, so I like my 80s cartoons more, I think.
Yeah, I'm a huge football fan, but the other type of football, Michael's type of football, the beautiful game, which the World Cup returns this summer. I'm so excited. But,
very true.
If you would like to join us on future Patreon Hangouts, you can head over to patreon.com/MichaelMercy. There are several levels to meet your financial situation, and level 2, Sergeant and up, will get you top secret access to the 80s cartoon commentary. So love to have you join in and chat a little bit about 80s cartoons with all of you, because it is my firm belief that texting is cool, but talking is better. So I am really enjoying doing these hangouts on Skype. So you guys are all ready with your Transformers episodes?
I am indeed.
We're all queued up to the black right before the music starts and the episode starts. I always get requests, whether it's the cartoon commentaries on here or on Armchair Directors with the movie commentaries. Why don't you just play the movie or play the show? No, I won't. That's copyright infringement. It's not covered under fair use law to play the whole thing. Fair use only protects for clips, which is what I use in my videos. I won't be playing the whole thing. Besides, it's not hard to find. Just literally, look around and you'll find it if you don't already have it on DVD. So that's just another reminder for anyone wondering why the video isn't playing along with the commentary. But we're all queued up here. I'm going to give you a countdown from 3. It's going to be 3, 2, 1, and play. And here we go. 3, 2, 1, play. And that classic Season 1 intro starts again. I really do prefer the Season 2 music, though.
Yeah, I've got to admit, it's something about the Season 2 music that just catches you.
It's got a
lot more upbeat.
It's got more of an edge to it. It's more intense, more serious. This sounds like just the ensemble singing. I don't know. I like the synth, the distortion on the voice too in the Season 2 intro.
That's very true.
So we've got a little recap going on here. And I'm looking forward to this episode because I think this is a great way to start a franchise. These days with all of the Gary Stews and the Mary Sues in TV shows and movies, characters are just not going through anything. And here's a guy going through something right now. Optimus Prime is going through a little bit of hell. I like these old cartoons where the heroes don't win. They go through real tough ordeals. It happened on G.I. Joe a lot too. In the G.I. Joe 5-part opener, they don't always win. Even this struggle to transform here, I think it's healthy for people and also for characters to have some challenges and setbacks and aches and pains to work through.
Yeah, I've got to admit, there's something about the older cartoons that it portrays a better or a more realistic view of life. The modern stuff, it's just sort of hero wins over and over again, and there's no adversity for them in the end.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite Optimus transformations because it looks exactly what it looks like when you transform the toy. Because this is about how fast you transform the toy. But they got it wrong right there. Animation error. The fists actually come out of the cab. You open the window and pull the fists out of the cab, right? They don't pop out of the wrists.
Yeah, I guess it makes more sense than coming out of the wrists, but but it's a bit odd when you transform the toy for the first time and think, hang on, where are they?
I remember looking at the toy when I was a kid before I got it and trying to figure out, where do the fists go? Like, is there some sort of flip, which is what they do now with the Masterpiece versions? But looking at it as a kid, thinking, where do the fists go? Like, there's got to be some sort of hidden compartment. And then when I got it, I was surprised that, what is this? It's like a parts former. You telling me I have to carry the fists around in my pocket? But luckily there was the passenger, what were the little Diaclone drivers?
Yeah, that's right.
Diaclone driver compartment in the chest to carry the fists. I like that Prime takes that blast, transforms, and then in a second here, we're going to, maybe in a minute, we're going to find out he did sustain some damage. It's not just dust your shoulder off and, keep going. I believe this is this the scene where Huffer offers to haul his trailer for him? Or am I thinking of I'm thinking of a totally different episode, aren't I? I went forward to the one where he duels Megatron.
Yeah, that's the one.
Never mind. But the point is, like, in that episode, he sustains damage, and it seems like there was a little more thought put into the episodes than on cartoons like Mask or Centurions. And again, we've got a little bit of, I don't know if it's dissension, but Ironhide's being a hothead, and he's just sick of getting his butt kicked or not getting the better of the Decepticons. I like this scene here where he's just had enough. Like, how much can we take here? And he pops his cork and goes after the Decepticons. And once again, the Autobots get roughed up.
It's weird how Ironhide is kind of going against orders, and then Skywarp requests to warp to attack.
That is a great point. That is a great point, because it's the Decepticons, mainly Starscream, who've been insubordinate. And yeah, we've got a scene right here where Ironhide is breaking rank, and Skywarp is like, "Is it okay, Megatron?" Or is that Thundercracker? I can't ever tell the blue and the black one apart. But yeah, asking for permission to take this guy down. And then Jazz, once again, I believe, with the grappling hook. That thing comes in handy. I'm so glad that the new Make toys, Jazz Masterpiece toy, came with the grappling hook, because he used it so often just in the first three-parter. It's kind of an iconic part of the character for me.
Yeah, I've got to admit, it's one I've been meaning to get the Arcade Toys one, because it does look awesome, and the fact that so far nothing else has added that hook, definitely is an appeal.
I've got both of the current Masterpiece style Jazzes, the Make toys, and I don't remember what the other one is called, but it's kind of the pearlescent paint job one. Is it not Toy World? The diehard fans are just going to be screaming here and writing the name in the comments. So I'm just going to look it up to save everybody. What is he called? At any rate, I do like the Make Toys robot version, but I like the other one in car mode, although, is it the transform and roll out version?
Honestly.
Hova? I think his name might be Hova. The transformation was an absolute nightmare on that one, if that's the one I'm thinking of. That's Big Ben going off in the UK there.
I wish that was my... I'm at my mum's place at the moment, and she loves clocks.
So here we've got Hound just got an idea, a masterstroke, and Prime gets an idea. I really like that this episode wasn't all about shooting and punching and kicking and fighting. There's a little bit of, I mean, espionage, right? Like the whole concept of Transformers was robots in disguise. In an age where it was all about cartoon heroes and villains smashing each other with fists or weapons, here came this line about characters who were trying to blend in and hide, robots in disguise. And so I like that the people who wrote the cartoon kept that in mind and thought, no, they wouldn't be like GoBots just smashing each other. They're trying to, use their brains a little bit more. So I like this idea that Ravage escapes, and it's actually all part of the plan. It's so confusing to me. First time I saw this, I thought, these incompetent Autobots, how could they let him go? But this line right here gives it away when they tell him he got away in Prime's response. Perfect.
Definitely adds another element to them that you kind of didn't realize at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then the double cross even adds on it.
Get some more sniveling from Starscream. Man, he really is a pain in the keister, and it shows some patience on Megatron's part, just constantly putting up with this. He actually takes a shot at him. That's crossing a line. This is a great little exchange here. It's so sinister. He's so patient. I love it. He doesn't pop his top and like, how dare you? It's all, it's nothing personal with Megatron.
I think that with the whole Megatron Starscream thing, he kind of thinks, well, it's Starscream. What should I expect? But sometimes he does his job, so I'll let him get on with it.
Yeah. And plus their numbers are so small that he really can't afford to lose someone like Starscream. I think the jazz I was talking about was the toy Coolsville. That's the one I was thinking of. Toy World Coolsville.
Yeah, that's right.
That's yeah.
Beautiful in vehicle mode, beautiful. But he comes to you in the box in robot mode, and my God, that was one of the most difficult modern masterpiece style Transformers I have ever transformed. It was really hard to just get everything to tab in and hold place, but I just love the vehicle mode for that one. And this is very interesting here. The Autobots thought they pulled a fast one on the Decepticons, and you got a double swerve, and the Decepticons outsmarted the Autobots. I always got the impression that the Decepticons were generally more popular, had more fans than the Autobots. And I'm starting to understand why. These Autobots just can't catch a break.
Well, they're really cool, and then they're not incompetent like in most cartoons. They're not the bumbling villains.
Yeah, like they just can't physically beat the Decepticons. They can't even outsmart them. But that's why I love Optimus. That's why he's my childhood hero. He just never quits. Never gets discouraged. Just keep plugging away.
I think that's one of the things that inspired a lot of people with Transformers and has kept him going is the simple fact of you've got so totally diverse factions, and that with the Autobots it is constant sort of like never give up, never quit.
Mm-hmm. There's a very Star Wars vibe to it, because the people who are in charge, in power in Star Wars, the original trilogy, which was around the time this came out, or just finished up, the Empire. And then you had the scrappy rebels who were fighting from underneath. So, it's a cool dynamic if you do it right, but it's a risk because I could see a lot of parents even then, but especially today, not wanting to see the heroes just beaten down. I mean, today it's all about don't trigger anybody, right? Don't trigger. You don't want to trigger somebody and hurt their feelings. But back in the day, in the 80s and even before that, your feelings didn't matter. I mean, if your feelings got hurt, so what? Suck it up, buttercup.
Yeah.
And I think that
Yeah.
produced stronger people, stronger character.
True. I mean, the PC era, as some people are calling it, seems to be getting a bit extreme at times, and even to the point of like the WWE.
Yeah, I love the chain of command here with the Autobots. That Jazz is the second in command, and so Prime. It's not that big a deal, not that big a task, but he does delegate the duty of, sounding off the Autobots and telling them to transform to Jazz. So a little moment, but it's little moments that make things like this special. And Megatron is just so wonderfully dastardly. We've got the slow convoy going here. We got the final battle coming up here. Music. We haven't mentioned the music yet. Absolutely fantastic. Still waiting for when the music will finally be released on CD or iTunes.
Yeah, I've got to admit, the music for the film, which you mentioned in the last episode, I've got it on my phone, and it's one of my ringtones.
Yeah. I love that each Autobot here gets a moment. Again, it's the little moments that make all the difference. Some might look at that and think, oh, it's a little commercial. Gotta buy this guy, gotta buy that guy. I don't look at it like that at all. I think it's every guy getting his little knuckle up moment. We're going to battle here. This one's for all the marbles. It's been a slow burn, and it's exciting. Awesome. And Soundwave is not that intense a guy. He's not that passionate, but that's about the most intense I've ever heard him, with the three eject, 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 and then a little rematch. I just love the continuity. You got the little rematch between Hound and Rumble. They mentioned their fight at Sherman Dam. and then Hound just owns him. It's like, hey, wait a second. You're a cassette. I'm a Jeep.
Well, it's about time he got his own back.
Now, what happens to Prime's trailer here? Does it get destroyed? It's just gone. Is that it?
Yeah, it looks like it. It does seem to happen, though.
I mean, I was under the impression that all three components were important. It said on the tech specs I think it did, what one feels, the other two also feel. Roller, the trailer, and Prime. And it looked like his trailer just got obliterated there. Finally, Prime gets a little bit of offense in on Megatron. It's giving him a shoulder rub here. He feels bad for throwing him on the ground. A little too compassionate for his own good. It's always a little chicanery when Megatron either gets the upper hand or survives Optimus's onslaught. And then, they're running away. Because really, they don't need to stick around and beat the Autobots into a pulp. They've won. Man, this really threw me for a loop when I was a kid. Like, what? These guys just beat on the Autobots for 3 episodes? And they got away? And the scream there by Prime just seals it. Like, yeah, it's over. Oh.
I don't think the Decepticons know what they're going back to after the 4 million years, because they don't contact Shockwave until the next episode.
Yeah, they're awfully hopeful, just expecting the planet to still be there and running. So, Ever the Optimist, aptly named, it's not over. It's never over for him. Give me your rocket pack. So a last-ditch effort, and this again was so outside the box for then and even today, that Prime would go after the ship, and I would bet a majority of the kids would think that the great hero Optimus Prime, the cool red truck toy that they got for Christmas or their birthday, is going to save the day, right? He's coming up on the rear.
Yeah, it's one of those moments where you think, yeah, he's going to do it. We're finally going to see that outcome.
And Megatron owns him again. It's like, how many times, if somebody could like actually do a running count of all 3 episodes, how many times does Megatron own Prime in More Than Meets the Eye trilogy? Because I would say that's pretty definitively a point for Megatron. Boom. Can't do that with a toy.
Fall from the upper atmosphere.
Yeah. And
never.
This is the only time I've ever really heard Prime get like really, really annoyed, agitated. He kind of snaps at the Autobots, but then he quickly settles down and goes back to being the Prime we all know and love. So it's over. Autobots have lost, and then just on a fluke, this is like a Gollum accidentally falling into the into Mount Doom type of fluke here, that this background Autobot, who's not really all that special, ends up being a stowaway. We got a little interaction between Starscream and Megatron, though, before that. Great showdown between these two. I love their interaction. It's like Megatron just toys with him constantly. And then here's the real hero of this trilogy. It's Mirage.
Yeah, the one that never really wanted to get involved becomes the hero, which is something to be said about the character.
It's still kind of realistic. It's not like he blasted every Decepticon. He got, one shot off before he got blasted? But he made it count. Yeah. Made it count.
Mm-hmm.
And now, again, Soundwave kind of losing his composure here. Yeah, it's quick, but it's over. And I just love that Mirage gets away too. Oh, fantastic. Like, you couldn't write it better than that. Beautiful. All these Autobots sitting on the ground. What's happening? Yay, we won! Yeah, and what is it? Is it there is a third-party Mirage Masterpiece toy that comes with an umbrella, so that's parachute, so that's a nice touch.
Mm.
So it kind of reminds me of Transformers, the movie, where Hot Rod, the just another Autobot ends up being the big hero of the movie, and that kind of echoes More Than Meets the Eye, where it's Mirage who saves the day.
Yeah, it's a really nice touch that they sort of, the way they put across a smaller character in a lot of the episodes, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm glad it wasn't Bumblebee. I'm glad it wasn't like Ironhide, one of the bigger car Autobots, or Roller, which is part of Prime. It makes sense that Mirage, his power is invisibility, so it's not a stretch to think he could have, when you think about it, he snuck on board while everyone was fighting. So, it's not exactly heroic, but it gets the job done. I mean, was that his plan? Like, if they take off, I'll sabotage them. If the Autobots would have won that battle, then he's just sitting in the ship going, oh, well, that was a backup plan. And then you got to have these teases. They have quite a few of them to show you that the Decepticons aren't dead yet. Another one of these great commercial bumpers. So dynamic. And we go to the credits. So, fantastic start to the Transformers animated series. I don't know if they always planned to do a big long run or if it was 3 episodes ordered and they'd see how it goes. Because I know the comic, was it four issue limited series, Marvel? And then when it ended up doing great, they just extended it. But yeah, this is really, when you grow up, a lot of your cartoons that you grew up on don't grow up with you. Some of them they don't age well. But I'd say that More Than Meets the Eye is still fantastic. I'd say it's right up there with the Transformers animated movie.
Yeah, easily. Funny thing is, in the UK, we were saying about the comics, it all started slightly differently over here because we were obviously slightly behind.
Oh yeah.
So we didn't actually get the comic that you were classed as number 1 till about a few months later. We had our own artists doing little stories within another comic called Action Force at one time.
Yeah, I remember reading one of those. It was a totally different start and totally different characters.
Yeah, and when we got the first of the American comics, it was actually in what was classed as the first Transformers comic. They had UK artists doing their bits and then small sections of the US comic because they had to sort of limit it whilst they were trying to get more over here.
Yeah, I remember thinking, man, this is so different. Like everything, the setup, the personalities. But later on, the Simon Furman stuff is great. I think he's the one that really added like that mystic, legendary history with Primus and all that backstory, Unicron. So the Simon Furman UK stuff is fantastic, and I'm glad that they eventually brought him over to write the US comic as well.
Yeah, he's an awesome writer, and I mean his work is brilliant. It's just inspired.
Mm-hmm. So that's More Than Meets the Eye, the 3-part opener. Michael, what are your closing thoughts?
As for the beginning of the series and beginning of the franchise, it was one of the things as a kid I loved with absolute passion, and I still do today. I just love watching it every time I can.
Mm-hmm. And Adam?
Yeah, I think it's a great intro, right up there with the Ninja Turtles 5-parter. Just shows all the characters what they can do, and it just leaves you wanting more.
Mm-hmm. And I definitely want more. This is much better than I remember it being. It's been a few years since I've watched it, and looking forward to doing a lot more Transformers cartoon commentaries as well. So hopefully you guys can join for those as well. And a lot more other cartoon commentaries coming up as well. Got a request for Gem, so that should be fun. I'll finally be able to drag my wife onto one of these. And lots of other cool cartoons. Looking forward to doing some Thundercats too, some more G.I. Joe, Silverhawks, and maybe even some of the ones that didn't really age as well. Might be fun to, look at some of those and Mystery Science Theater them. Michael, thanks for joining us tonight. And Adam, thanks also for joining us tonight. And thanks for your support on Patreon. Really appreciate it. And all the other patrons as well. Really appreciate your support too. Thanks to everybody for watching, for subscribing, and until next time, Nerdmas Day.